Welcome to Rexposed, where the darkest secrets and the craziest drama from Reddit are uncovered. And the story I'm about to tell you comes from our confession. I had sex with my straight co-worker. I thought he liked women, until that night happened. I work at a small hotel where I met Greg, a guy who was 100% straight, loved drinking, sports, and flirting with any woman he came across. Greg and I got along pretty well, often playing games and cooking together after work. Even though I was gay, I never thought Greg could have any kind of interest in me. But then, strange signs started to appear. Greg frequently brought up his bedroom experiences and started asking me about what I had done with other men. At first, I thought he was just curious. But soon, Greg began touching me more often. His pats on the back lasted longer than usual. His random hugs felt unnecessary, and sometimes, the way he looked at me wasn't the way a normal friend would. The night that changed everything, one Saturday night, Greg invited me over to drink beer and play games. I didn't think much of it, since we had done this dozens of times before. But this time, something was different. Greg made me drink way more than usual. His eyes were red, from the alcohol, or maybe something else. When I got up to leave, Greg suddenly grabbed my hand and asked, "Have you ever thought that maybe I could try it too?" I froze. Was Greg implying what I thought he was? I laughed, assuming he was joking. But then Greg pulled me closer, his eyes locked onto mine, too close for it to be just a joke. "I just want to try it once, just to see what it feels like." Before I could react, Greg kissed me, firm, but clumsy. I could feel him trembling. Greg, the guy who always bragged about how much he hated gay men, the one who constantly talked about the girls he'd been with, was now shaking in my arms. I knew I should stop. I knew he might regret it the next morning. But at that moment, I couldn't resist either. I woke up with a pounding headache. Greg was lying next to me, his expression empty and panicked. I opened my mouth to say something, but Greg jumped up, grabbed his shirt, and muttered, "Nothing happened last night, okay? I was just drunk." A heavy weight settled in my chest. Something definitely happened. But Greg denied everything, as if it had never existed. After that, Greg completely avoided me. He started dating a girl from the hotel, even making a show of it in front of me. But his eyes, whenever we accidentally made eye contact, were never the same again. So, should I tell the truth? Or should I let Greg continue living with the secret he so desperately wants to bury? Greg keeps saying he's straight, but his actions tell a different story. Has anyone here ever met a Greg in real life? Greg is the ultimate flip-flopper. At first, he's curious, and then he denies everything. I give him a 3/10 for being too weak-hearted. Next up is a deeply emotional story. And the truth, it's true. CPS is utterly useless. I was 17 when I realized that if I didn't take action, I would be trapped in the hell my mother had created forever. She didn't just control my life, she stripped me of every basic right a human being deserves. I wasn't allowed to shower, open the fridge, or use the stove or any other appliances. My phone, couldn't charge it. The electric bike I needed to get to work, forget it. Even a bed to sleep on? Non-existent. I slept on the cold, hard floor, wrapped in a worn-out jacket instead of a blanket. But that wasn't the worst part. My mother had a twisted habit. She dumped all my clothes into the toilet, a toilet she never flushed after using. She wanted me to feel disgusted with myself, to drown in despair. But instead of breaking, I silently planned my escape. My father, a coward. I lost count of how many nights he knelt beside me right where I slept on the floor crying, whispering how sorry he was. But the moment someone mentioned divorce, he shook his head, saying he had to stay for the children. What a joke. I knew I couldn't rely on anyone. One cold morning, I called CPS. When they contacted my mother to inform her they would be coming for an inspection, she immediately played the role of the perfect mother. Within hours, the house transformed. My bed was returned. The fridge was stocked with food. Everything looked spotless and normal. When CPS arrived, they saw a regular family, a perfect home, and my mother. She spun an entirely different story, painting me as a liar, an ungrateful child making up stories to get back at her. At that moment, I knew I had lost. 45 days later, CPS closed the case. And just like that, everything went back to the way it was, worse than before. I continued sleeping on the floor, showering at the gym, and charging my phone and bike at the library. On my days off, I wandered the streets just to avoid being home. I tried, but no one believed me. Then my 18th birthday arrived. She threw me out without a word, without hesitation. I walked away with nothing but what little I had managed to buy with my own money. No father, no mother, no one on my side. But guess what? That was also the day I became free. I cut off all contact, built my life from nothing, and I have never been happier. I think the mother in this story embodies toxicity and abuse, not only stripping her child of basic rights, but also manipulating the situation to hide the truth. Her actions are inexcusable. Rating, 0/10, a terrible parent, unworthy of the title mother. What do you guys think? Comment below. Finally, here comes a very shocking story. It's about a girl. I'm a virgin at the age of 22. I've never been in a relationship, not even had my first kiss. I'm not someone who isolates myself from society. I have a stable job. I have friends, I communicate well, and I treat people with respect. But no matter how much I try, I still feel like an outsider in this world. I've been in moments where things could have changed. A glance, a gesture, an opportunity. Yet somehow, it always slips past me like a fleeting breeze. Is it because I'm too unattractive? I'm not overweight. I take care of myself, so why is it still like this? The most painful part isn't loneliness, it's never knowing the warmth of another's touch. A real hug, a connection deep enough to make my heart stir. I'm not seeking pity, I just wonder, am I truly invisible to the world? I think this story touches on the deep loneliness that many can relate to. It's not about looks or circumstances, but genuine connection that truly matters. You are not invisible, maybe you just haven't met the right person who sees you the way you wish to be seen. Give me a like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments which story you found the most interesting. Share your thoughts on these stories, I'd love to see your opinions.